Well, now, let's welcome Mr. Zhu to deliver the first speech. Mr. Zhu is the Deputy Secretary of Subchamber from CCCMHPIE. He graduated from Peking University, a MD of Science in Chemical Biology, and a Bachelor of Economics in National Institute of Development. He is also a licensed pharmacist. Since joining CCCMHPIE from 2013, Mr. Zhu has devoted himself to APIs research and has unique insights to industry and its policies and markets. His topic today is the development trend of China's API industry and the prospect of cooperation between China and India. So Mr. Zhu, it's your turn, please.
线上的各位业界朋友们，还有来自
Dear peers from China and India, good afternoon. It's my honor to be invited to discuss with you about China-India cooperation. China and India are already major manufacturing countries for APIs, and after outbreak of the pandemic, the demand for APIs have been increasing, while as the manufacturing base in China and India has been greatly influenced by the pandemic. With cooperation, we have made it possible to provide a sustainable supply of API. And now I'm going to share with you about the overall situation of China's API industries and cooperation status between China and India, as well as cooperation analysis and outlook to the China-India API industry. Now, I would like to start from these three aspects to share my view with you. As for the first part, let's have a look at the overall conditions of China API industry. There are a lot of research and reports from third-party companies. And now, first of all, let's have a look at the overall conditions of API in China. And currently, the global API market is projected to be worth of 175.7 billion by 2020, and with a 10-year CAGR of about 10%. And in terms of the market share, North America accounts for 40%, Europe 27%, and Asia accounts for 20%. In terms of the supply, study shows China accounts for 28%, India 19%, Europe 28%, and there is another source saying that China accounts for 25%, India 30%, and Europe 15%. Regardless of which set of data, these proves that China and India are the major suppliers of APIs. And China provides a mass commodities and intermediates and the APIs, and while India provides the special the drugs and APIs, while Europe provides complex APIs and patented drugs. According to statistics from China, in 2020, China's main business revenue of chemical API is 394.5 billion yuan, showing a downward trend. It's because of the regulatory strength increasing, and also capacities have been decreased, as well as supply chain reform. We can tell, according to the China's regulatory bureau, there are more than 4,400 of API and preparation manufacturers. Those means the ones complying with the GMP standards, but there are also the ones who haven't complied with those GMP standards. These are the source from Korean. The mature companies means those who are capable to supply APIs to the market already, while potential companies refers to those who have the plans but still limited by the capacities, and while local markets means those companies who hasn't been approved but try to enter the market. And we see there are a lot of existing companies and potential companies. And while as for India, there are more mature companies existing, while Europe and the United States focusing on specific areas of API production. In past few years, China and India's manufacturing of API has increased a lot. Regardless of whatever the condition is, and we see the production is increasing all the time, and this shows the export of China's API. And it includes some of the intermediates inside. According to initial data, in 2020, the export volume was 10.12 million tons, up 7.5% year-on-year, and while the export value was $35.7 billion, up 6% year-on-year. And China has exported APIs to over 190 countries and regions, and I have marked those top 10 exported companies, including India and Vietnam, European countries, and North America countries, while India ranks at the top. And let's have a look at the export regarding the specific category. Those categories are related to anti-pandemic and are selling very well. And we can see some categories had a very good performance, like over 50% growth for dexamethasone, and over 30% for VCVE and lamivudine. And we also see more than 20% for paracetamol and analgin and heparin. Academic is driving the growth now, and it has pushed the demand for API globally. China, while recovering quickly from the pandemic and had the restart and productions and provided supplies to the globe. While China is also a major country of import, and we can see every year the imported volumes increase. In 2019, it hit a record historical high, $10.75 billion, while it decreased to $9.7 billion in 2020 due to the pandemic outbreak. I have also marked the source of API import. European and US are ranked in the top 5, while India ranked number 6. The major categories for import, including cardiovascular, amino acid, anti-infections, cephalosporins, anti-cancer, etc. It aims to meet the several demands domestically. Firstly, multinational countries are considering changing strategies, importing APIs from their base in the original countries and also processing it in China. Due to logistics problems, they are considering to choose backup suppliers in China. Secondly, environmental production regulations had an increased area requirements or standards. Some companies have to shift their locations, and there's a shortage of APIs for some of the severe for some of the categories or drugs in severe shortage, and it hasn't been improved yet. And thirdly, due to monopoly behaviors, API price has increased a lot. In recent years, the Chinese government has fought against the increase of price and also considered different standards, such as adopting imported APIs for connected assessment. And fourthly, in China, API consistency assessment have increased the demand for high-quality APIs. Now, let's take a look on the cooperative trend for API trading between China and India. Since the recent 8 years, and India has been China's largest API trading partners, and accounting for 13%. If we separate an import and export, we can look at this slide. India this shows India is the largest export destination for China, and also the 6th largest import countries for China, accounting for 7%. So India accounts for 16% of the export for China, and from China to India, and also 7% of imported India drugs to China. From 2011 to 2019, the trade volume increased from US $3.7 billion to $6.4 billion, with a growth rate of 6.2% due to pandemic, and there's a decrease of the trading volume in 2020, but decreased by 4.5% to 6.13 billion. And then we also see there's a 4% decrease of an export, and the imported volume has decreased 13%, and 730 million of imported value. Now let's have a look at what kind of APIs China has exported to India. These are the anti-infective, penicillin, cephalosporin, hormones, amino acids, and vitamins. So regarding the specific products, those large exported volumes are such as 6-APA, 7-ACA, 7-ADCA, cetirizine, and thromycin, rifampicin, vitamin B12, etc. And those are good performance and product, and in 2020, so including antivirus, pipenem, vitamin VC, VD, VE, and also hormone types like desmothasone, befazole, cortisone, estrogens, and the progesterone-related products. For the imported APIs from India, those are mainly the cephalosporin, cardiovascular disease, and metal disease, metal drugs, etc., single products, and cephaloclone, and etc. And those well-sold products in 2020, and including the psychotropic products and Vilaxfacin, hydrochloride, and levothyroxine, and anti-infections class, including mementum, hydrochloride, etc. Now let's have a look at the DMF code and registered in China. Now I want to share with you the data from 2017 to 2020. China has acquired 1,300 registration numbers, and India accounts for the top 35% of total.
So you can see the top 10 products for the registration in India, which is corresponding to the previous slide. You can see there are different drugs here listed, and such as the amlodipine-based light. Let's see what are the new changes this year. Now we only have the data from the custom from January to April, and you can see that the export from China to India is 290,000, reducing by 6%. And also most of the products are those antibiotics relating to the COVID-19. And for the import, now the import is 35,000, increasing by 28%, and the amount is $340 million, increasing by 71%. And also you can see that most of the products like the cipehalin And also you can see that there is a high level of increase. This is caused by the price as well as the cross-border freight impact. And in the second half of last year, the cost increased, therefore resulting in the increase of price. And for the analysis and a prospect of cooperation on API industry between China and India, now let's see what are the opportunities for the industry. The first is about the reciprocal advantages of the two sides. We know that both countries are big countries in terms of the manufacturing and in terms of the industrial chain of the pharmaceutical industry. Also, China and India have a big strength in terms of the fermentation of those ARC APIs. And for India, they are very strong at the CMC and high-risk compounding process, and also for the special API production. You can see China and India has unique advantages. And for the trade investment, India has the advantage of lower labor costs, and also they have a better global sales distribution channels. So if we can complement each other, we can make full use of our potentials. We know that we have started collaboration long ago. For example, for the export of China's fundamental and basic chemical products, and then to be produced into the API and the generic drugs in India, and then exported to other countries. The second opportunity is about diversified procurement. And last February, China has reduced its export of API, and also last March, India also put a limitation on its export of API and agents. And we can see also in this April, so India also put export limitation on some drugs, and also this makes the collaboration of the two sides more urgent. So we can use the raw materials from China and India, and for China to make its domestic procurement, we can also import such API from India and vice versa. So this can also boost the collaborations of the two sides in API procurement and lower our cost. So there's a huge potential of market in API industry for both countries. Now China is the second largest pharmaceutical market in the world and still growing. And India is now also ranks among the top 10 in terms of pharmaceutical market size. So the expansion of our collaborations, facilitating our import and export, and as well as to meet the demands of the consumers. And also we're holding different events and exhibitions to boost our communications and our mutual understanding. And also our regulations and the laws are being enacted and improved, and to make it more convenient for the import and export. And also we are expanding the scope of the API with zero tariff. And you can see in 2020, there are 3 more, and this year there are 6 more products that are exempted of tariffs. The fourth opportunity is about the migration of production capabilities. In recent years, due to the more stringent environmental protection regulations, and some of the manufacturing is migrated to other countries. First is the domestic migration. And you can see that from those more stringent regions to some less stringent regions of China, and also some production is moved to those pharmaceutical parks. And the second opportunity is migration into overseas countries such as Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and India, etc. We know that several years ago, some Chinese pharmaceutical enterprises have invested in India to build labs and produce agents. I guess in the future there will be more and more such migrations. So it depends on India's acceptance and regulations. And for the challenges of API industry between the two countries, the biggest challenge is COVID-19. The negative impact of COVID-19 is diverse. For example, for the cross-border transportation and the increase of rate, and it may endure till the end of this year. And you can see last month there is a very severe pandemic of COVID-19 in India, and some meetings and exhibitions are cancelled, and also there are some blockage of the ports, and the ships cannot enter the port, and such pandemic caused the shutdown of enterprises, and people have to work at home, and also for a lot of cancellations of exhibitions, and so there is a significant reduce of bilateral communications. And you can see that the COVID-19 can deepen our misunderstanding and hinder our cooperations. A second challenge is about the political frictions. We know that there is strong potential of collaboration between the two countries. Several years ago, when the relationship of the two countries is good and we had a good relationship and collaboration. However, in the past several years, there is political frictions, and for example, some applications of China's enterprises are prohibited in India, and also there's the investigation of some Chinese enterprises in India. So this may block and may hinder the collaborations and the investment of China. And also the second about the localization of production in India. We know that India has been promoting the localized production. You know, last year the PLI plan is initiated in India to encourage the production of agents, but there is some market restrictions of Chinese enterprises. I heard that India has a plan to put a limitation on the import of some intermediate agents, and we know that only 10% can be imported for some fermentation products. And also there may be more tariffs on Chinese Chinese goods. So such measures can frustrate Chinese enterprises, and which is also detrimental to India's domestic enterprise. The third one is about the business environment in India. We know that India is a big market, but there is the issue with the bargaining issues or the delay of payment, and also insufficient government administration, efficiency, etc. So such issues should be solved. And also we know that India now ranks 172 in terms of the government efficiency or business environment. So we hope that there may be such issues can be solved and the environment can be improved to boost our collaboration. And also there are some suggestions on our collaboration. First, we should avoid some simple trade, goods trade, and we should deepen our collaborations. And also we know that there are a lot of simple goods trade, and there's a co-development of some products. And also there are collaboration in development, CDMO, and the license of some pandemic-related drugs. So we should promote such collaborations in multiple aspects. The second is we should avoid to politicalize such trade collaboration. We know that the political frictions have already impacted our collaborations, economic collaborations. So, but we know that for collaborations and to improve the livelihood and to the benefits of the people of the two countries, we should avoid to politicalize our trade collaborations. To fight against the pandemic together, we should join hands. We should seek common ground. The third is we needed to learn from each other. We know that the China and the India industries are supplemental to each other. We have offices and branches in each country, and so we can use the opportunity to learn from each other to make up our shortages by leveraging the strengths of the other side. And also, we needed to develop the third-party market together. We know that India is a huge market for the API market. We know that China also contributes a lot of raw materials and APIs to India. So only in this way can we improve ourselves and our efficiency. Last is about the introduction about the China Chamber of Commerce of medical and health products, and named CCCMHPIE. It is established in 1989, and we have 2,500 member enterprises, and we collaborate with different ministries and departments of Chinese government. And also we have established the working mechanism with the drug administrations and organizations of different dozens of countries. And also we have collaborations with the international committees of pharmaceutical industry. And also CCCMHPIE has built a Sino-India exchange and cooperation platform, and we have held the meetings and the negotiations with India on several times, and you can see this from 2018 to 2020. And we had a plan to hold a bilateral communications on drug regulations, but it was cancelled due to the pandemic last year. Since the outbreak of the pandemic this year, and in April 16th, we have released a declaration to call for joint collaborations to fight against the pandemic in India, and we have received a wide response, and we have been communicating with the Indian counterparts all the time, and also to assist Chinese enterprises to support the India in the COVID-19 containment. And also we have been maintaining communications with the Indian media and to keep updated of the information and the status of the pandemic in India. And also we are working with the Indian media such as Hindustan Times, and we provide this information from the Chinese side to fight against the pandemic. And we
sincerely hope that India can control the pandemic as early as possible. We can carry out more cooperations and make more contributions to the globe. Thank you very much. That's all from my side.